Well, back to Australia now. Wind farms in Tasmania have just been, they've received approval to have their wind farms running all year long. And conservation groups, I was about to say conservative groups, I guess they're trying to conserve something. But they're planning to put in 100 wind turbines on a remote Australian island. And these community groups are saying, what about the orange-bellied parrot? Get this, they said that in 2017 there was just 14 left of these orange-bellied parrots in the wild. I know what you're thinking, how on earth could they possibly know that? The answer being, that's absolutely impossible to know that. But apparently the entire population of these birds, so all 14 of them, migrates over the Bass Strait. So this is going to mean their extinction. Completely, utterly, there'll be none left. They're wiped out. Goodbye, orange.
These 100...
We've got to save the planet, sorry.
These 100 wind turbines were originally approved with the condition that 5 months of the year they sit idle, which is what wind turbines do most of the year anyway.
Not anymore.
If you've ever driven from Sydney to Canberra, all these wind turbines sit there not spinning. But the original approval was 5 months they don't do anything. Well, the project organisers said, well, that just makes it financially unviable.
Yep.
So what the government have said now is, OK, you can still operate 12 months of the year, but you will pay a $100,000 fine for every wedge-tailed eagle and orange-bellied parrot that you kill. So someone's going to have to walk around Robbins Island,
count the birds.
counting the number of birds, calculating the fine. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. But doesn't this demonstrate the conundrum that you've got when you're trying to save the environment by destroying the environment? And that's the problem that the environmental movement trying to reach net zero have, don't they, Kel?
Exactly. That's the problem they have. And the people who live in the inner suburbs who vote teal, they have no idea what's going on, because they don't know what these wind turbines are like. They've taken the occasional trip in the country and they've seen one of those really nice old-fashioned Southern Cross windmills, you know, the nice little ones that have been there for 80, 90 years. They're quite quaint. These things are nothing like that. These are humongous. One blade is the length of a semi-trailer, 260 feet, 80 metres. These things are absolutely massive. Unless you've seen them in the field, and I have, you've got no idea how huge they are. And there is no planned obsolescence. They build these enormous things. They have a life of about 20 years. And what happens at 20 years' time, we don't know. What do? Do you bury big things like that in the ground? It's no one has thought through the consequences of this. It is, as you said, it is let's destroy the environment because that will save the environment.
And it's not just on-air wind turbines, but wind turbines being built out at sea are also problematic. The West Australian Fishing Industry Council has said that the government are flying blind, quote unquote, in their approvals of offshore wind turbines because no one's quite worked out what happens with the migration patterns of fish. There's reports from European countries that fish migration patterns are being interrupted. And on the east coast of Australia, you've got whales migrating. You've got dolphins as well. And no one understands the effects of the electromagnetic field that's generated by these wind turbines offshore on local fish. And even if it has no effect, what does it mean for fishing rights? Fishermen have now got to negotiate these huge tracts of sea that are dominated by wind turbines. So you've got problems everywhere, Liz.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that these people can still masquerade as being the greenies. Oh, we're trying to save the planet. We're all about nature and the survivability, etc. and so on. Every single one of these projects, whether you want to talk about electric vehicles, whether you want to talk about these wind turbines, whether you want to talk about all the different measures that they're putting in place while trashing fossil fuels and desperately trying to replace them with things that quite simply don't work and aren't any better for the planet, all the research has been done. So much like this fellow, Daryl Hockey, is talking about, he's like, I know what this is doing. And we already know from the countries who have these wind turbines offshore what it is doing to the life in the ocean. nobody cares. Bjorn Lomborg has also done absolutely comprehensive work on this. Nobody cares. It's simply being ignored because it doesn't fit the narrative.
And the level after level goes seriously wrong. After the wind turbines have generated their power, or the solar panels have, what happens to it? Well, we all know that they're inconsistent and unreliable. The wind doesn't always blow, and the sun sets every night, something which I don't think Chris Bowen's quite worked out yet.